Next up, oh my goodness,
All right,
Valenti, it's been so long.
it has been a long time since we've had a good DJI rumor that seems to be somewhat substantiated. So,
DJI rumors.
so
Need a little
today
jingle.
we had a couple things happen today, yesterday, around this time period, the last couple days here. So, Drone NR dug into the firmware where we've seen things pop up previously. I believe this was inside of DJI Assistant firmware, and then the Fly app on the phones. And they were able to dig through and find out some new product codes that DJI has put into the firmware. And we know from history, basically every time this has happened, new products have come along with it. And so in the naming scheme, they found ZV902, and we know that Goggles 2 was ZV900, Goggles Integra was 901. So it certainly seems like DJI Goggles X, whatever the new goggles would be, is 902. It really matches up, right? Makes perfect sense. Also, there's a new drone coming. So DJI Mini 4 Pro was teased today by DJI. If you saw that tease go out, they're announcing that on the 25th. We've seen the FCC filings for that. That's the WA140. DJI Air 3 has already been in there, the WA233. And then we've got WA520, which is DJI X. The WA520 is that new code again. So the DJI X seems to be a new drone. I will say, because of the numbering and the information, it seems like it's not, it's not a Mini and it's not an Air. It's along the same lines, but most likely, from all the signs, it seems to point to it being another Avata DJI FPV drone, that category that would ship alongside of a goggle. That's what I'm hearing in the background.
Why? It's really soon for a new set of goggles. The Goggles 2 just came out. The Integra is sort of an extension of that.
Well, the S2 chip has been on all the new hardware from DJI. So like all the new drones are shipping with this S2 chip. So
What's
the
the
thought
S2
process
chip?
is it's just a new version of the S1, the P1, like all the chips they've had. DJI's had all these chips in their hardware.
AV1 encoding. Oh. We got H.264, H.265, maybe AV1 is a new, even better kind of video encoding.
Right. I think that's an NVIDIA thing, though. Right?
Well, NVIDIA does it, but I don't think they invented it.
Okay.
That would be cool. I just made that up. Hey, DJI, get on it.
So as far as it seems like to be the case that we have an S2 series of things coming out, which would be that OcuSync 4 or whatever the term they're using is for the new version of the link and the new quality that you could achieve and things like that. So, I mean, that's the idea. And then also China's trademark registry showed a new trademark last month for a new product called the Avinox from DJI. And if you think about what would come after the Avata, the Avinox isn't crazy as a name, right? Avata doesn't mean anything anyway. So we've got a name that could be a drone. We've got definitely a drone in the firmware, and we've got definitely a set of goggles in the firmware that seem to go together. So we could very well be seeing new FPV gear coming eventually, right? We don't have typically we see like a decent sized windowed release on this stuff where we get teasers of boxes coming out, we get little hints of the drone pictures. The early creators are going to get these things ahead of time to start reviews and testing, so we're going to get this should be layered out over the next six months, I would guess. I feel like that's probably the time frame we're looking at. I don't really know, but I would guess 3-6 months plus here. We really don't know. So they've been moving pretty fast on this S2 stuff, it seems like.
The chat is telling me that AV1 is open source, unlike H.264 and H.265. So AV1 is actually the codec that we're using right now to stream from my computer to YouTube. And the long story short just offers noticeably better image quality per bit rate. So if you're streaming at whatever, 4 megabits per second, it's the equivalent of streaming at a higher bit rate, basically.
So I'm gonna pose a speculation out there, random speculation. Fortune says, I genuinely don't understand the why. Okay, now if you think about it, they could just be DJI and be like, we got to have the best stuff, we're making new stuff, we're iterating all we want because who cares, we're going to make all the best hardware, we're pushing every direction forward, great, right? Or what if the S2 chip is the only thing they can get, right? Maybe they're running out of the old chips, right? We don't know that.
Oh, that's
There have been manufacturing issues. They might have moved companies. I've heard rumors of that. So, like, What if they just don't have S1 MP1s to keep going with? Like, again, I
mean,
can't substantiate that, but I mean, that would be a reason to push all your stuff really fast into S2, move into a new realm of things. But again, total speculation.
All right. Well, we have to see what it is. We have to see what the S2 chip brings to the table. It would be super. I mean, like, I don't know how feasible it is. For example, you would need a system on a chip that can do AV1 encoding, and right now it is the realm of desktop GPUs. So I don't know how good it is on an SoC, but my goodness, we saw a big improvement when we went from H.264 to H.265 between the Vista and the O3. And we know that AV1 performs even better than H.265. That would be really... I just made that up. Now I just am hoping that someday that happens, and it'd be so cool if it did. Okay.
All right.
All right. Confirmed. AV1 coming in the new goggles. Great.